Hi, this is Olaf. We are 12 weeks away from Kona, and this is episode 29 of my journey to the Ironman World Championships in Kona and St. George. And I'm training really hard to get back on the podium in Kona. All right, so a bit of an update. So this is the end of my journey here or of my stay in Europe and in France and Germany. So I basically was able to do one full training cycle here with Ironman Frankfurt as a training race, and then two more hard, pretty big weeks. In France, during which I did basically 25 hours of training, and now I'm in the middle of finishing one easy week where we scaled training back to sort of 13 hours or 14 is just half basically. And Sunday I'm traveling back to Martinique to then finish the last 12 weeks, only 12 weeks until Kona in Martinique. So things went pretty well. On the big weeks here I was able to ride sort of between 500 and 540 kilometers. I was running the big weeks 70k with always one long run close to 30 kilometers, and swimming was not that much actually. It was sort of between 15 and 10 k, so that we will definitely scale up again. But it was good. Was good to train here. As I explained before, obviously humidity is quite a bit lower. For the cycling, I have this track around the horse race track in Longchamp, which is around 3.5 kilometers, and also not really flat, but it's pretty good because you can definitely keep the watts high, and you can definitely do good training. So I think it was the first time ever I did in a span of 10 days 4 6-hour rides, 6-hour TT rides, where I did between 60 and 65 laps. So that definitely, I could feel that in the legs, obviously the recovery here with the low humidity is also quite good. So I think I've been able to do a good foundation for the weeks to come. Martinique, it's going to be obviously hotter or definitely much more humid. So a little bit of adjusting will need to happen, but definitely looking forward to be back home and seeing how it will go. I didn't fall off the bike. Was quite careful despite some rides in groups, etc. But that was or is all green. In terms of little pains, there's always something, right? In the knees, I could definitely feel a little bit the 6-hour rides, but that seems fine. On the long runs at the end, sort of after 2 hours or an hour 45, I started to have a little bit of a pain in the hip or hip flexors, but don't feel it at all when I do shorter runs. So I think also that's okay. Otherwise, calves, that's all good. I had a little bit of neck pain because of the position. It's definitely a bit more aggressive, but I feel that is also slowly getting better, and sort of on 2-hour rides I don't feel it at all, so that's definitely a positive. I feel I can definitely again turn my neck. some things to do. I will start that, have another session today in terms of core strength, etc. So I will definitely start there with the stretching, to be able to better hold their position, to be able to have a little bit of higher seat also, and have legs back problems to stretch more the hamstrings was definitely one of the things on the to-do list. So I will include that. Other than that, this week has been easy, so less of everything. I had one off day on Monday, which was great, and then sort of maximum 2-hour rides, easy. One thing I forgot to mention was one bike training session that I couldn't finish. That hasn't happened actually for a long time. Didn't like that at all, to have sort of a yellow session in or orange session in Training Peaks. It was supposed to be 10 times or 10 reps of 1 minute steady at 50 RPM, and then 1 minute at 110 RPM, then 1 minute tempo, or 1 minute tempo at 70 RPM, with 1 minute sort of easy at 100 RPM, and then 1 minute hard at 90 RPM, and then 1 minute easy at sort of 90 RPM. And I set up on the balcony here. It was a day, one of the heat waves days, so it was already 30 degrees. I didn't have any ventilator, and obviously no aircon, but not even a ventilator. And I did the first rep sort of hard at 350, 360 watts. Felt great, but I don't know, with the heat and no air, it just got downhill really fast. And after 5, I was dead, so I couldn't even hold 310 on the 5th one. So I decided to call it a day. It was during my recovery week, so it wasn't supposed to be that hard anyways. Misjudged what I could do. Definitely tells me that Martinique, I'm supposed to get heat acclimated again. A bit annoying, but at the end, happens. Started too hard and paid for it. Actually don't get that much, so all good. I have 1 hour 30, I think, maximum run on Sunday. So I have to see if I can squeeze that in before the plane, which is already, I think, just before 11, so it might be a bit tight, but I prefer to do that before I leave rather than arriving in Martinique. But let's see. And swimming also was relatively easy. I had a good session with 12 times 200, sort of 100 meter easy steady, and then 150 meter faster and 50 meter tempo. And I did them half, or it was 2:30 or 2 always on with Pro Paddles band, and then 1 swim, and I did all of them under 3 minutes, so between 2:52 and 2:58. So that's 126 to 129 pace. So I was really happy with that. So all going well, and excited and motivated about the fact that we are only 12 weeks away from Kona now. And so ready to go and to put back some intensity progressively. And it's always important to do that progressively, not to get injured. Martinique will have to get some heat acclimated again. But looking forward to training ahead. All right, last point was, is this going to be my best Kona ever? And what are the reasons why this could be my best Kona ever? So, just in terms of what happened in the past. So, my first time was 2012. Where I had qualified in Melbourne after just 4 months of really intensive training, where I finished 8th in Melbourne, and then I finished 8th also in Kona, with 9:30 and 9:31, which was a really good experience. And then 2013, my best year ever. I had won Ironman Western Australia and Ironman Melbourne. I was first overall. That's also where I did my PB in Ironman Western Australia, 8:48, and then Kona, also my best results ever, where I finished 4th with a 4-minute penalty in 9:09. And then several really not bad results, but sort of around the 10 hours, always between 9:50 and 10:10. I had 4 participations in 2014, 15, 17 and 19. So 16 didn't go at all, and 18 I went, but had shoulder problems, so I couldn't race, and I had to leave. I left actually a day before the race. Because it was just so frustrated that I couldn't race, but definitely had bad experiences in Kona. And the reason for that was several times because I was not, preparation was bad. Once I was, I couldn't run until 3 weeks before the race. Once I did, I had to take an antibiotics course, sort of a few weeks before the race. So definitely part of that was because I was not well prepared. 2019, I was just coming out of a really catastrophic year in terms of problems at home, and definitely not, it was just sort of the sport helped me get through that, but definitely not sort of the mindset to have a fantastic result. So in 2015 or 14, the year after 2013, I was just not so well prepared, not really the great mindset, and then just overpacing the bike and finishing, and then just giving up during the run because I wasn't where I wanted to be. So so a lot of lessons learned. What I think is really different this time is number one, I think I have the nutrition dialed down much better. And I will continue to train really well, taking into account, not only the carbs, but also the sodium, obviously, that's going to be absolutely critical in Kona. So nutrition, I feel I have it much better dialed down, and then also continue the nutrition by adding some gels with salt during the run, which also in the past I didn't do. So that's number one. Number two, the training in Martinique is going to be definitely, it has its difficult side because it's not as bad as Hong Kong in terms of humidity, but it is quite humid and it is hot in the summer. So you have to find the right balance. Also do some stuff on the trainer to be able to train hard, but not only fighting against the humidity. So you have to find the right balance there. But I definitely feel that in terms of heat, to be heat acclimated, that's going to be a massive difference and going to be positive for Kona. So that's number two. Number three is also that the time difference with Kona is just going to be perfect. It's going to be 6 hours different. So already in St. George it was even better because it was only 2 hours. but in Kona it's going to be 6, which is also, you know, in the right direction. So when I get there, I will naturally wake up super early. I will go there already early, so I will be there I think over a week before the race. So I will be able to, you know, easily on race day be able to get up at 4 a.m. While having a really good night rest. And it's just, you know, you have to be super disciplined, getting super early in bed when you arrive, or the first week when you get there, so that always getting up sort of at 5 at the latest, so that on race day, 1, you can sleep no problem, really early. 2, you can get up and you feel like, you know, you had a great night's sleep. So that's you know, it's not critical. The last night's always pretty shitty, but you know, if you only sleep 4 hours, 5 hours, you know, you can do a good race, but it will definitely help to have that time difference in the right direction and to be just rested and ready to go. So those are the 3 main points. I definitely think also I know myself, my limits better. I think that you know, I am smarter in terms of not getting injured. I mean, you know, always touch wood. Hope, you know, I not fall off the bike, but yeah, definitely gonna remain focused. I also had a look again at the last results, so I will do another episode specifically on that. But the difference always between the 1st and 5th is typically quite larger. So, you know, even if there's always going to be 1 or 2 guys who are going to be really, really strong, even if I cannot beat them, the probability, if I prepare well, to finish between 3rd and 5th is, to me, really, really high. And so, you know, the objective still remains to be on the podium. I obviously like to win. I think a lot of the guys who did super well in Europe will not perform in Kona as usual, and so the chance to win is really good. But you know, I've had my problems in Kona as well, and even if it doesn't go super well, I think a podium is definitely in the cards, and that remains the objective. So those are the main reasons why I think Kona this year is going to be my best Kona ever. Cool, so finally, thanks again for watching. Like, subscribe, give me some comments. I hope this is useful. Keeps me also focused, keeps me track of the time, and keeps me focused on the objectives for the few weeks to come. Can't wait to get there. Only 12 weeks to go, so let's see what happens and stay tuned.